I want to teach you how to be the business developer today that every company would want to have on their team, working with them or for them, right? Federal sales, when I describe it, can be broken down into three main phases: business development, capture management, and proposal management. Business development is about fully understanding an agency, building a relationship within and around that agency, and then identifying opportunities that your company can win. Capture management is about shaping a single opportunity's technical requirements and acquisition approach in a way that's to your company's advantage. And then finally, proposal management, that's about bringing a single opportunity across the finish line by writing a winning proposal. In this lesson, I want to teach you about the top 3 skills every business developer needs. Be able to get into any federal agency door, be able to build strategic relationships with buyers and teammates, and be able to fill a sales pipeline with slam dunk opportunities. Do me a favor, in the comments, go ahead and put top 3 BD skills in there if you're ready to learn how to be a great business developer. So put in that chat, just let me know right there. Let me see if I can put that down. Top 3 BD skills. Let me know you're along for the ride and you're ready to sit there and either learn these skills or refresh these skills. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonnell. I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce, and I'm excited to welcome you to my daily live federal sales training where I teach tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years as a small business owner in the federal market, and since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret, it's just a process. When we follow the process from steps A to Z, we're going to have predictable, repeatable success, and that's what I want for you, and that's why we do this training. Before we get started, do me a favor, help buyers and others in the community know who you are. In the chat, put your company's name, core competency, 2 or 3 words that help us understand what your company does. Also, grow your network by using LinkedIn, right? In the chat, you have people that you can meet and begin to develop relationships with outside of this, this environment, right? So I provide the environment for you to meet, and then you can take it offline and build relationships with others in this LinkedIn community. If you're outside of LinkedIn, come in, connect with me for sure. If you're not connected with me, at one point or another, I'm going to connect with you, or at least submit a request to connect with you if you're attending the training and you're part of our community, because I want to stay just aware of what you're doing as well. Finally, if you haven't done so already, let me know what city and state you're joining us from. Put that in the chat. The GovCon Chamber of Commerce has members from Guam to the U.S. Virgin Islands and every state in between. I want to know where you're coming from. All right, let's dive into the meat of this lesson. So the first tip I have for you, first skill set that you need to have in order to be a business developer that everyone would want to work with, is you need to be able to get in federal agency doors, right? And so as we go forward, I'm going to talk to you about just a high level of getting in an agency door. And then I want to talk to you about why it is so important. And then I'm going to wrap up that lesson part with exactly how you can do this. I want to give you steps for each of these 3 main things that I'm going to cover about getting in an agency door, building relationships, and identifying opportunities, filling the pipeline. So anybody can go to SAM and GovWin, right? I see this a lot where people think they're business developers or capture managers, and all they're doing is going and grabbing something from SAM or GovWin and pulling it in. They're going and finding a forecast and dumping it all into the pipeline. Well, that's not really helpful to the company, right? And it's not really helpful to you. But to be competitive, for you to be competitive and for your company to be competitive, you need to get inside the door with the agency, right? Sometimes we call this getting inside the wire. If you're an incumbent, you're inside the wire. But for all of us, we need to get in the door and start having conversations. I want to talk to you about one of the advices I give, one piece of advice I give to customers that we have as they're building up business development teams. What I tell them is, in your interviewing and you're talking to business developers, I tell them, never hire somebody who's coming in and their biggest claim to fame, strength, or bragging point is that they have a large Rolodex, a large contact list, right? I've been doing business in the Department of Homeland Security for a long time, and I have all these contacts. That doesn't mean anything to me as much. First off, I don't know the quality of those relationships. But second, what is far more important to me, and what I recommend to my customers should be far more important to companies, is can you get into a new place? right? Agencies have turnover all the time. Or maybe we decide we brought you in for DHS, but your strength is actually in this part of DHS, let's say Secret Service, but we want you to go into FEMA. Well, if you don't have any relationships in FEMA, could you get them? And that's what we advise our customers is make sure you have somebody and you're bringing on somebody who has a process for getting in the new doors. It's not so much just about having relationships. Those are important, but those aren't the be all end all. And so when you think about getting in a door, getting in any agency door, why is it important for a company to that you be able to get into any agency door? One reason is that you can learn more about the agency. Part of business development is to fully understand an agency. Sometimes I describe this as knowing an agency better than almost anybody, including the people who work in the agency, right? So you want to be in the top 1%, in my opinion, as a business developer, knowing an agency, the mission, what they're doing, the organizational structure. And I've described this before, that it's not hard for you to get to that top 1% because most people, including the people who are in an agency, working in an agency as employees, they tend to focus on one small silo or area, a program office, a command, et cetera, right? But they don't see the bigger picture. But as a business developer, you do see the bigger area. And so it's really important for you to get in the door because you can learn a lot more about the agency. Second reason it's really important getting inside an agency door is that you can start and build relationships. It's really important if you want to navigate an agency, if you want to learn about an agency and learn more and more about an agency, well, you need to know somebody in there. You need to have relationships with people in there. And so if you can get in any door, then that tells me that you can probably start and begin to build relationships. And when you can start and build relationships, now we've got an in. Now we can begin to learn more about opportunities and shape them like I talked about. And the third reason is when you get in a door, when you're able to get inside an agency door as a business developer, not walking the halls blindly, but actually getting in the door to meet this person and meet this person. And then, meet their two friends and their two friends, you can begin to find opportunities your competitors won't. And so a reason it's really important for business developers like you to get in the door. And by the way, if you're a business owner, it's the same thing. You just have a business development set of responsibilities as well as running your company, right? But let's just call us all today business developers. If you can get in, you can identify opportunities long before your competitor, right? Sometimes you can identify these opportunities before the RFI comes out. And that's when most people, let's say 80% of the industry hears about an opportunity when something comes out as a source of sought or an RFI. But if you get in the door, you can explore opportunities that are being prepared to go to RFI stage. And the government totally is okay having conversations with industry about that because it helps them shape those requirements better. So that's three reasons why it's really vital for you to get in the door, right? Is that you can learn more about an agency, you can begin to start and build relationships, and you can find opportunities before your competitor. So let me talk about three or four steps that relate to how you can actually do this. So I don't want to just tell you get in the door and good luck. I want to tell you three ways you can actually move forward and start doing it today. Before I do, let me just show this graphic just to remind everybody of the seven-step process that I teach on the process for federal revenue success, right? It begins with research and then moves into targeting, goes into outreach. When you do these three first steps, you're able to build relationships that lead to opportunities that enable you to write winning proposals so that you can win revenue, right? That seven-step process there. Keep that process in mind as I just tell you that the way you can get inside agency doors, the three steps you can do, and you should just pay attention to this. By the way, let me know in the chat if you want a copy of that diagram and I'll send it to you. But the first step you do is to research your target agency. Take the time to understand that if I want to get into, let's say, FEMA, right? Because this week I'm actually sharing a lot of DHS data. If you want to get into FEMA, then you take the time to research them, learn who they are, begin to understand their organizational structure, maybe where your business might align more, which offices, et cetera, you might line. That comes from research. Take the time to understand their strategic plan. I share those every morning at 8 o'clock on my LinkedIn profile. I share strategic plans out there. It's not hard for you to find them. What is hard is for you to make the decision to take the time and read them. So when you research an agency, that's a good first step to beginning to get into the door because you're learning about them. And by the way, this stuff I'm teaching you, it's pulled directly from my business development course where I teach people how to succeed in business development. So this is not conceptual. This is exactly what I teach in my course. This is exactly what I teach my customers when I work one-on-one with them. The second thing you want to do is create a list of leads in your target agency. So this is just a list of what I like. The number I like is 1 to 200 people in that agency that you can begin to call. And if the agency has 4,000 or 40,000 or 400,000 people in it, it is not hard to build a list of 1 to 200 people. And so you take the time as you use the information you got in research to build a list of people you can reach out to. I just did a post this morning, and man, for the life of me, I forgot. I think it is on FEMA. Sorry, my mind's going a little bit. But in there, I put like 10 people. Right away, I put 10 people, and those 10 people, I actually pulled them from a list that I found inside of FEMA's website of, maybe 50 other leaders that are in there, and those people can lead me to other people. And so the second step is to create this list of leads or people within your target agency. And by the way, those people, because I said within or around your target agency, those could be prime contractors who are in there that maybe you want to try to find small businesses you can connect with, or large primes where you can find their capture or business developer people, or even their program managers. And so that list, you're building it. And then that leads to your third step, which is perform outreach. And this is really basic. Pick up the phone and call them. 25 calls a day until you're in your target agency. If you're looking for some sort of magic pill or silver bullet on how you can get into an agency, there's none. It's just a process. Research them, identify who you can call, and then pick up the phone and call them. When you do that over and over again, you will get in an agency. It might take you 25 calls or 50 calls, but I'm telling you right now, we do it right now for our customers who are in our workshop. And for every one of them that we help do it, they're getting in the door on a regular basis, right? So every single week. So once you start getting into a rhythm, you might take a little time to get up to speed, but guaranteed you'll start seeing results every single week of setting up the meetings you want, which is getting you into an agency, which is a skill that companies need from business developers. So get in agency doors into the comment. Go ahead, let me know you're tracking on that. Get in agency doors. Okay, so the second thing you want to do, the second skill you want to have to be the business developer that everyone wants to work with. And by the way, I say everyone who wants to work with, meaning maybe teaming and things like that, or just everyone wants, meaning somebody's going to come in and recruit you. If you can do these three things I'm telling you today, time and again, I can find 100 companies that would want to work with you, because it's really hard to find people who are willing to do the work to begin to get in. But if you can do it, it becomes easier and easier and easier as you develop these skills. So the second skill that you want to have is to be able to build strategic relationships with buyers and teammates. So many of us can just build any relationships, or we go to a conference, we got 50 names, 100 names, whatever. But are you building relationships at all? And then on top of relationships are the next level up, which I call strategic relationships. These are relationships where I want to help you succeed and you want to help me succeed. And we're committed to that in our relationship. And so when we meet together, I'm trying to pay attention to how I can make this a win for you as well as me. And you're doing the same thing. You're trying to make it a win-win. Go watch my training on win-win in a relationship. It's really important. But people buy from those they know, like, and trust. You probably have heard a lot of us say this right out there, is that people buy from those they know, like, and trust. And the whole idea of a strategic relationship is that these people do know, like, and trust you, and they're just liking you and trusting you more and more. And you want these relationships, because from these relationships, you're going to be able to gain a lot of value for your company. So let me talk about 3 reasons on why it's vital for you to be able to have strategic relationships. First one is, if you have strategic relationships, let's just talk about it inside of an agency for a moment. They're going to share information with you, right? I call these people focuses of receptivity. They're receptive to you reaching out and talking to them, to you having conversations and asking them questions. They're willing to share information. They never, ever cross an ethical boundary, but they're happy to tell you, oh yeah, Jane over there is in charge of that. Oh, here's our strategic plan, right? They're not doing anything bad. They're just willing to talk with you. There's other people who are super nice as well, but they're not willing to talk. And so you want to find these strategic relationships, because for a business developer, they really help you understand an agency and begin to help you navigate that agency and the information within it. Also in Capture, they can help you understand more about an opportunity. They might be on the selection board. And so by having these strategic relationships, you can learn information either in business development about the agency as a whole, or in a Capture environment about information around the opportunity you're pursuing. The second reason it's really valuable to have these strategic relationships and to be able to build them is that they'll make introductions for you to key stakeholders. When you get into any agency, that first skill set, well, your next thing is to start building those relationships and then building them into strategic relationships. When you do, these people will introduce you to others. They will trust you. I want to give you a quick story on one of my customers, a couple of my customers, but actually one person did this, same person helping these people. And this guy is Matt Burkett he's a Navy small business specialist out in Naval Surface Warfare Center, Crane, so Crane, Indiana. And his job, my words, not everybody else's, but his job is basically to be a liaison between industry and his internal customers. He's trying to find the best small businesses that can support the mission of Crane, Indiana. And he's trying to enable small businesses to be able to navigate their way into the agency. And I had one customer who came in and wanted to be able to meet with a large prime. And Matt was able to introduce them to the program manager of a large prime who had $1 billion contract out there, where this person was eventually able to start working with that large prime within a matter of weeks, by the way. So watch tomorrow's training to learn more about this story. Another example of where Matt helped is that there's a CTO within Crane, Indiana, and he's got no money, but he is basically the lead influencer on technology within Crane, Indiana. And one of my customers was one of the people in the GovCon chamber was trying to reach out to them. And I just connected them with Matt. Matt didn't instantly just pass their information. He did a little due diligence, talking with his company, saying, look, I'm happy to introduce you to the CTO. I just don't want to introduce you before you're prepared or before it's valuable to them. He wasn't being a gatekeeper. He was making sure that the meeting was valuable to his internal stakeholder. And he was making sure my customer was able to actually come in and look good and help the Navy. But my point around this is he's able to make introductions. You might not want to work with Crane, Indiana, but you could look somewhere else and find that same strategic type relationship and get those introductions. The last reason it's really important to have strategic relationships, is that they help you learn about new opportunities. And just really quickly, give you another story. I was in a customer, it's called WACA, it's a DoD agency. And inside of WACA, though, I was having meetings with director of IT. And in his office, he had a 5-year plan on the back of his wall. It's just huge and everything. And he was able to talk to me about, look, this is the general direction we're going. None of it was like confidential or sensitive. It was their vision, trying to say things like, hey, we've got old laptops, we want new ones. We got no mobile technology, we want to go to mobile technology. So I began to learn about some of those things he has. Maybe you don't get lucky that it's all up on a wall that you can talk about, but you can sure look at, you can go in and know that when you have a strategic relationship, you can begin to talk to them about potential new opportunities. I have a whole training that I do that talks about the acquisition lifecycle, really begins with an idea in Jane or John's head. And from there, they have to kind of shape it before it ever gets to the formal acquisition process. When you have strategic relationships, you can participate in that thinking and that dialogue around that shaping the idea into a requirement. So that's another great reason on why they're important. Let me just tell you how to build strategic relationships. And I can see that I'm going at a fire hose pace here, and I got one whole other section I want to do. But how do you build relationships? And let me give you 3 steps that you can do. First thing you want to do is determine who do you want a relationship with. I want a relationship with a small business specialist like Matt. I want to be able to meet the CTO. I want to be able to meet a large prime program management person or whoever. Determine who do you want to have a strategic relationship with, right? Who do you want to begin to build those? You're not looking for a lot, by the way. You want, let's say 8 or 10 would be huge for business development, because if they're strategic, they're very focused on your company's end game, your goal. The second thing you do, first you determine who they are. The second thing you do is engage with them on LinkedIn. Click their notification bell, right? If you haven't done that on my profile, you should, because I share nothing frivolous. I might share something about an agency you're not targeting, but everything I share is about federal sales or about an agency's content coming out to you. But the strategic relationships you want, engage with them on LinkedIn. I talked early in this training about how I engaged with the director of an agency, so the very top of an agency. I'm engaging with his content. When I want, I'm going to reach out, right? And that will be, that might be several weeks, it might be several months. I might wait and just really make sure that they're beginning to know who I am as well. And then the third step is meet with them regularly. And so I'm not talking about how do you do outreach, but how do you build strategic relationships, determine them who they are, engage with them on LinkedIn, and then eventually connect with them. And then meet with them regularly. A strategic relationship, you must meet with them every single month. If you're not meeting with them every single month, then they're not strategic. They might still be valuable, and that's totally cool, but they're not strategic relationships. Strategic relationships mean we're meeting every 2 to 4 weeks. If it's not important enough for us to meet every 2 to 4 weeks, then it's not strategic. It's secondary. It's still totally needed, but it's not that top level strategic relationship. And the other thing is track, in order to engage with these people and continue to build it, is you want to track your strategic partners. And I told you, less than 10. You want to track them every single day. It takes you very minimal amount of time to just track them on social media. If you hit the bell notification, LinkedIn will tell you that something's going on, and then you can engage. Because if these people are important enough to call them a strategic relationship, then they're important enough to track 5-10 minutes a day. Anything you can do to keep strengthening that relationship day in, day out, week in, month in, is great for you. So build strategic relationships into the comments. If you understand that's a vital skill set in order to be a business developer that people want to be around and work with. So build strategic relationships. Okay, so the final tip I want to give you on how to be the business developer everyone wants is be able to fill a sales pipeline with slam dunk opportunities. So you need to get in any door, build strategic relationships, and fill sales pipelines with slam dunk opportunities. So really quickly, what I'm talking about, a sales pipeline, hopefully you all know, but a funnel, just think of it. Your job is to throw opportunities that are qualified opportunities into the top. The right opportunities are ones that are coming out this year, next year, over the next 5 years. That's your job, is to be able to put them in. You do not want to pull from services. You want to find and put opportunities at the top of your funnel. What I mean is, don't go to GovWin, don't go to the forecast, just download their stuff. I see all these services that talk about how we'll integrate with your sales pipeline and pull all that stuff in. It's like, well, all you're doing is pulling garbage in, what we call noise, right? You're pulling noise into your CRM tool, your pipeline, instead of leave it all out there and just find the ones that fit your model. And I'm going to tell you how to find that, but find them, choose them individually, and put them on the top of your funnel. That's your job. Really quickly, why is it important to fill the sales pipeline? Company cannot strengthen and grow without revenue, right? And so putting opportunities in the pipeline that can move forward, the pipelines are the lifeblood of the company. And it's they look at it and they say, this is our future revenue. We're able to predict where we can go in the future. And then your proposal team, they can't write winning proposals without slam dunk opportunities in the pipeline. And so when I say putting things in the pipeline, I mean early enough for them to be going through the stages of the sales lifecycle, right? So it's really important to fill it in. But let me give you 3 tips on how to fill it in. And I'm going to do more training on how to do capture. But just really quickly, 3 ways that you can fill a pipeline. Know your company's slam dunk opportunity, right? What really is a slam dunk opportunity for you? My last company, it was SharePoint migration. There was a lot of other ones, but if I saw SharePoint migration, that was mine to win. I was going in and I was taking it. I was going to the Super Bowl saying, this is mine, right? Forget about the other team. And you need to be able to do that. You need to know your slam dunk opportunity. If you don't know your slam dunk opportunity, how could you ever be the business developer everybody wants to work with? You're confused. Don't be confused. Know your slam dunk opportunity. A little tough love. And then the second thing is, in order to fill a sales pipeline, is time block 30 minutes every single day. First thing you do, you're a salesperson, you're a business developer. First thing you do every single day is time block 30 minutes, not to plan your day, but to go identify opportunities that can go into your sales pipeline, into your funnel, right? If you're an 8-hour-a-day business developer, this is the basics of your job, right? So block 30 minutes out and go look at the forecast, go talk to your strategic relationships, go look at GovWin, go look at SAM, go anywhere you can. There's many, many ways you can identify opportunities, but spend 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be 35. 30 minutes every day, and you will continuously be filling that pipeline in. And the third tip is make sure you have a qualifying process with clear criteria. So if you go over to SAM or you go to the forecast and you see an opportunity, make sure those slam dunk opportunities have a clear criteria of what makes them a slam dunk opportunity. So it's almost like a checklist. You see it and you go, check, check, no check, check. 3 out of 4, yes, you go in. The 2 out of 4, no, you're not going in, kind of thing. But have that clear criteria that's in there. Let me just track my time. Okay, I'm really tight on the time. Do me a favor, put Phil Sales Pipeline into the comments if you're following what I'm talking about. But these things we talked about today, in order to be a business developer that everybody wants to work with or everybody wants to hire, you need to be able to get in any federal agency door. You need to be able to fill a sales pipeline with your company's slam dunk opportunities. And you need to be able to build strategic relationships with buyers and teammates. My tip for you as you go away from today is take an honest look at your current skill set and see which ones you need to improve on, right? Don't improve them all at once. Just look and go, which one can I improve on today? Maybe it's just time blocking starting tomorrow, 30 minutes a day. Think about where you can improve your skill set. If you found value in today's training, do me a favor, throw thanks into the chat. We really appreciate that. Hey, I'm releasing a 2023 version of my business development course this month. This is where this stuff comes from. If you want to learn more about it, go to neilmcdonald.com and just put your name and email in there. And when you do, we'll get back to you and let you know that it's coming out, or if you want to learn more about it. Last thing I want you to remember, government contracting is not a secret. It's just a process. I'll see you in the next training.